In this tutorial, we will be creating a woodland nymph or flower fairy Halloween look. It's a perfect last-minute Halloween costume, and you can put this together very inexpensively. We will begin by making the floral crown headpiece. Everything that I will be using for the crown I purchased from Michaels. You will need a few different small silk flowers. This is to fill up the background of the crown. I took color inspirations directly from my dress. You will also need a few larger silk flowers to act as focal points. Notice how I strayed from the more popular roses or lilies. I wanted all my flowers to look wild, so it's more believable that I picked these up on my last trip through the woods. I also picked up these glittery Christmas leaves. They will make the gluing later a lot easier. You will need some sort of wire for the basic form of the headpiece, and these butterflies are an optional accent. We will also need a hot glue gun. To begin, create an oval shape with the wire, and make sure it sits comfortably on your head. Keep in mind that the flowers and leaves will add around 1/2 to 1 inch to the circumference of the crown later on. Thicken the base by wrapping the wire around a few more times. This will make it easier to glue objects on directly. Tuck the ends of the wire inside, and take another piece of wire to wrap around the hoop itself. We will now need to separate clusters of flowers from their main branches. Depending on the size and make of the flowers, you may be able to easily tug them away. On some of my glittery leaves and trickier flowers, I first used scissors to cut around the stem to cut into the plastic, and then manipulated the wire back and forth until the flower broke off. Make sure you keep the leaves that come with the branches. They will be very useful later on. First, glue your glittery leaves onto the hoop. Flex them slightly so they curve to the shape of the hoop, and hot glue them on. Make sure you hold the leaves down until the glue cools and sets. Continue this all the way around. Now we are ready to start adding the filler flowers. It's easier to do this if you have a base layer of the plain leaves. So taking all the extra foliage from the stems that we set aside earlier on, glue them in alternating colors and patterns directly onto the glittery leaves. Next, set the small bunches of flowers on and hot glue them down. Rotate the crown while you're doing this to ensure an even spreading of the flowers. If possible, set aside a few small flowers in case we need to correct any mistakes or patches later on. Now we can add the larger flowers. find areas where there might be bald patches or where you just think the flower belongs, and simply glue them on. Continue this all the way around until all the larger flowers and most of the filler flowers are on the crown. Go back and re-examine the crown from different angles. If there are any obvious blank spots or messy glue showing, simply cover it with another flower. I decided I wanted more leaves showing since I kind of went overboard with the flowers and barely had any green showing. So I went back and attached some plain leaves between the flowers. The crown is complete. I purchased my wings from a local Halloween store. Again, I referred to my dress to pick an appropriate color. To cover the felt fabric between the wings, I'm using a silk rose I picked up from the dollar store, along with a few leftover filler flowers from the crown. Simply hot glue the rose down and use the smaller flowers to fill the remaining empty space. For the final look, I'm wearing my alternative braid. If you haven't seen that tutorial yet, please do so. The dress I purchased months ago, but any floral should work, as long as you vary your flower wreath and wing color theme accordingly. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the box below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks guys, and happy Halloween!